All right, welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're diving into a question I guarantee you've asked yourself. When you're stuck in traffic, staring at that same half-finished building for what feels like the hundredth time. I mean, it's a universal frustration, right? A skyscraper, an overpass, even just your neighbor's new garage. The deadline always seems to be more of a polite suggestion than a hard rule. So what is really going on behind all these delays? Let's dig in. But first, a quick shout out to the folks actually out there on the job. All the hardworking engineers, the supervisors, the contractors, we see you. This one's for anyone who's ever stared at a project schedule and just thought to themselves, yeah, there's no way. Because we're about to break down why things so often go completely off the rails. Okay, first section, the age-old question. We've got to separate the myths from what's actually happening. So there's this common myth, right, that the folks on site are just lazy. But the reality? It's a completely different story. Picture this. Your typical engineer wakes up before the sun, has to deal with a bounce check while trying to eat breakfast, and then drives to work through a surprise rainstorm. It's a lot. The problem is definitely not a lack of effort. So if it isn't the people, what is it? And that brings us to our next section, the real culprits. It turns out there are these 4 major systemic issues that just consistently throw a wrench into everything. All right, coming in at number 1 is the plan that, well, doesn't really exist. Or even worse, it's a plan recycled from the last project. You see this all the time. Someone's trying to manage things with the absolute latest, fanciest software, but the actual work? It's being done with a pickaxe and a wheelbarrow. I mean, the plan and the reality are basically in 2 different centuries. It just doesn't connect. Okay, what's culprit number 2? Ah, yes, scope creep. This is a classic. You know how it goes. Clients and consultants just love to change the plans while you're building. So you're all set to pour the foundation, everything's ready to go, and then, bam, a whole new set of drawings shows up. Why? Because the client now wants a wave pool in the basement. It sounds totally ridiculous, I know, but this kind of constant updating just grinds all progress to a halt. And then we have culprit number 3, which is all about the material drama. Oh, this is a big one. One day, steel prices just shoot through the roof. No warning. The next day, your concrete delivery is hours late. And, to top it all off, your absolute best worker just up and quits to go work for the competition next door. And you want to know why? Because he heard their lunch was better? Seriously, that stuff actually happens. And every single one of these little dramas creates this huge domino effect of delays. And that leads us to the 4th and, you could say, final culprit. A set of forces so powerful, they can stop a bulldozer in its tracks. I want you to meet the 3 Bs. That's rain, budget, and bureaucracy. Think about it. You can have the most massive, powerful machine on Earth all revved up and ready to go. But one good downpour, one frozen budget, or one little piece of lost paperwork, and boom, the entire site is shut down. Instantly. So, let's recap the real culprits. You've got terrible planning, scope creep, all that material drama, and the all-powerful 3 Bs. This brings us to a really crucial point. Fixing this problem isn't just about working harder, it's about changing how we think. We need to see this as a system, not just a simple checklist. You see, for way too long, we viewed a project as just a simple checklist. Do task A, check. Do task B, check. But that's not how it works at all. The new view, the real view, is that a project is a living, breathing system. Everything is connected. The concrete delivery is tied to the budget, which is tied to the client's crazy new idea, which is tied to the weather forecast. It's all one giant interconnected web. So here's the crucial point. As long as we keep ignoring this reality, as long as we don't manage projects like the complex systems they really are, timely delivery is always going to be the exception, not the rule. It'll be a happy accident, not something we can actually count on. So, if you really want a project to finish on time, what's the secret? Well, it boils down to this. You got to have a solid plan, you need the right people, and maybe most importantly, you should probably save your prayers for rain until after the job is completely finished. Thanks for tuning in to The Explainer.